All right, so the new graphics for the T-shirts and other merchandise is done. The Chopper Alien one that my man Brandon did, Buddha Tattoos out in California. So go to bigtruthpodcast.com/store and check it out there. You can grab it on whatever, like T-shirts, hoodies, now there's shorts, mugs, whatever. It's all kinds of wacky stuff on that merch site. So go to bigtruthpodcast.com/merch to check that out. If you want to support the show, go to Big Truth. Go to patreon.com/bigtruth, and there's all different levels of ways to support the show there, and they all come with their own benefits. So check that out. I'm running through this right now just so we can get to this episode. If you happen to need some artwork, whether it's for your house, your shop, your work, your cubicle, your garage, your man cave, your she shack, whatever it is, go check out tattooflashcollective.com. They have all kinds of art, and if you have a tattoo shop, it's a no-brainer because obviously they have Tattoo Flash, but they also have posters, prints, books, whatever you need art-oriented wise, all rad stuff by rad artists, independent all across the world, really, because they're international. So if there's an artist you like and they've done some stuff you like, you check it out. My man Johannes does it with his partner, and it's all legit, and all the artists are paid. It's like a collective, obviously. That's why it's called Tattoo Flash Collective. So support them on Instagram at Tattoo Flash Collective, on the web at tattooflashcollective.com. If you use the promo code Big Truth at checkout, you get 10% off your order. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you get even more, but you have to, subscribe to get that. Membership has its privileges. If you need some motorcycle stuff, whether you need parts or you need service, repair, something built, custom fabrication, speed work done, whatever it is, give us a call here at Chopperhead 508-995-6764. Again, 508-995-6764, located at 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts. Full brick and mortar motorcycle shop. So whether you need an oil change or a full custom bike built, we got you. You come in. There's a parts counter, there's a showroom, there's a area with like riding apparel and shop swag out in the back, full service shop. It's not a lifestyle company. We are the fucking lifestyle. So support independent, real deal, get down shops. Chopperhead.com. If you're not local, you can grab some swag. You can actually get parts too. If there's something you see, or there's something that you want for your bike, but you don't see it online, just give us a call or shoot us an email. And we can have a lot of things drop shipped to you. So we can get you an exhaust probably in 1 to 2 days. So give us a shout if you need something. BigTruthPodcast.com. If you want to find out more information on the show, like I said, go check out the new merch. And without further ado, we're going to get into it right now.
Sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Big Truth Podcast, and I'm stoked to have my first time. I got a trio of guests, and if you're watching, you'll see. I got Carl, who's a repeat offender on the show, who you know from bands like Earth Crisis and Apocalypse Tribe and Freya, and we're also joined by Jeremy and Keith, and it's a trio of authors here who have undergone an ambitious undertaking of a new trilogy, a modern trilogy. I take on some old themes and some new themes, and I'm not going to discuss it. I'm going to let these guys talk for themselves, but stoked to have you guys all on today. Appreciate you coming on. And why don't you guys introduce yourselves, give a little bit about your backgrounds, and then we'll just get down.
Thanks for having me back, my friend. I'm Carl from Freya.
I'm Jeremy Mueller. I'm one of the co-authors of the Unraveling, the Council of Crows.
I'm Keith Ward, also a co-author of the Council of Crows. And yeah, man, thanks so much for having us. We're psyched to be here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Stoked to have you guys on. Kyle told me a little bit about this a while ago, and then, I was talking a little bit before we hit roll. It sounds like a very interesting project you guys got going on. And you guys, it's a trilogy, but you've got the first book finished. When's the book coming out?
The book actually came out right around Earth Day of this year.
Okay, I'm a retard.
And
Sorry.
no, that's all right. It's still basically in like the first phase of its launch.
Okay.
So we've done some press for it. We've been out promoting. We've been to different bookstores and done readings and signings here in Syracuse and in Buffalo, and we're getting ready to go up to the library in Rochester. They're hosting an event for us at the end of the month, and there's actually going to be a couple vegan restaurants that will be bringing food, as well as a band will be performing at the end of it. So we're doing everything that we can to let the world know that book one is out.
Awesome, man. And I want to get into like, we'll do this a little bit later. Why don't we talk a little bit about the book first? But like, what's it like doing publicity and like a tour on a book versus like band stuff? But before we get into that, why don't you guys just talk a little bit about the book? Like that rundown you guys gave me before we started was perfect. Let's let people know a little bit about the book and what it's about. And I know, and maybe talk about the arc of the whole trilogy and things like that.
Yeah, so this is the Unraveling, and it's the first book in a 3-book series. This one's called The Council of Crows. And I think the big hook for us in this one was really trying to conceive the first truly post-apocalyptic story for middle grades YA readers that's ever been written. And in our story, we open in a humanless world where animal culture has evolved, is taking the roles of some of those human facilities that we know, and none of the humans come back. It's not a story where there's the one good kid, and through that kid, all of this life can be rebuilt. The story of us is over, and now we're looking at a group of animals who have developed culture, magic, technology, society, and they're desperately trying to avoid the mistakes of the human past while unintentionally repeating many of them.
Right. So a lot of the characters in our story have unfortunately inherited some of the human-like tendencies of exploitation and enslavement and warfare. So they are unfortunately perpetuating those mistakes, whereas other creatures are bewildered by it and resisting. So the book is about a lot of things. It's about how the compete, conquer, exploit mentality that humans were using to create, like, for instance, our current civilization and society are, it's bizarre how we can be a part of something that has been so destructive. So pollution is touched upon, obviously vivisection, cruelty towards animals, state-sponsored warfare. All those issues are explored and in different ways have a magnifying glass put over them. And it is an adventure story for children. Like when I wrote the original draft, it was a short story, and I wrote different short stories out of this world, but we took this one specific tale and we each added different layers to it. And one of the things that we added to it was Jeremy's experiences and his views, Keith's experiences and his views, and some of the things I've been thinking about in regards to animal rights and the natural world for years. So it all kind of got woven together into the tapestry that are these 3 books.
And also, like, given the heaviness of a lot of these ideas that Keith and Carl both spoke about, I just want people to know that it is a fun, light fantasy adventure story, for kids. A lot of this stuff. One of the greatest reviews we got was from Keegan Kuhn, who said, there's a lot of messaging in this, but it's not in your face. So we feel like, everybody will be able to enjoy it. Like one of the things, like, I remember, watching The Secret of Nim as a child and, Watership Down. And, like when I didn't really, like I don't really remember like a lot of that messaging when I was younger. It wasn't until I was older, until I started to realize what a lot of this stuff was. So I still enjoyed the story for what it was. And I think that's important, for people to understand too. Like it is a fun fantasy, magical story for kids, and it's not in your face.
Yeah, to Jeremy's point, the heart of this story is a king is slain and the queen is taken captive, and we have a miscreant group of well-intentioned but often befuddled characters attempting to go and rescue the queen from the belly of the fortress, which is Mordor or the dark parts of Narnia in some
Yeah.
way. So
Yeah.
yeah, at the end of it, this is a lot of chase scenes, a lot of wild characters that you bump into, and we just keep hoping that this
Yeah.
chubby groundhog and his crew can find their way through the dark and make life better.
So is it one of those things where it's a children's book where it sounds like where like kids will read it and they'll have fun and get lost in the adventure, but if an adult reads it, they might pick up more of the underarching themes?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what we've been told. The reviews so far have been very much that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is definitely a middle grades book, and the language has some elevation, so it pushes a reader to a new understanding. But I do think for, yes, older readers, parents who are reading along with their kids, yeah, for sure. It's all of that. It's just a great story. And then if you take the time to think, we hope that there's some stuff you can talk to your family about and,
Yeah.
do our part to be a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be cool is like, a parent reading that to their kid and then maybe explaining, some of the ideological things behind it, you know what I mean, or expounding on it more. So that'd be a rad way for a kid to get broader understanding. So Carl, so is this like it's like Watership Down meets Animal Farm meets Mad Max kind of?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really fast.
Yeah.
You can put that on the back of the book if you want, and I'll just,
All right.
just let me know.
That's you. Meets Mad Max. I love it.
Yeah.
No, but Carl, for you, when you first started writing this out, as someone who's a lyricist, you've written countless lyrics for a few bands over decades. What was it like undertaking writing a book rather than writing, a lyric, or a song? And I know it's interesting because this might be seen as an extension of your lyrics because these are a lot of topics that you've covered in various bands over the years, especially Earth Crisis, So, what was it like undertaking writing a whole story and that's arching out into now from a short story into a 3-part trilogy?
I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it would have never happened without Jeremy and without Keith's help. Like, these guys have brought so much creativity and insight to the project that it has been a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
Because with Earth Crisis and with Freya and Apocalypse Tribe too, like, I am kind of a storyteller in a way.
Yeah.
I don't just deal with things that are concerning me now, things that are upsetting or anger me. It's like, I think it's smart when a lyricist or a storyteller doesn't just focus on now. If they think about, well, where did I come from? What were my ancestors contending with? Might some of the things that are problematic for me be the result of their trauma that led to mine? Kind of that ripple effect. Or what are the things that we hope to change in the world, or the things that we fear that we try to prevent from happening? I mean, so all those types of things were explored. And through science fiction and through a story like this, I think it's a great way to sound an alarm and kind of offer some course corrective measures and ideas. And when a young guy or a young girl reads a story, I think they will enjoy like the comedy and the adventure that's there. But when they get a little older, hopefully they'll return to it and be able to see, oh, so this is what it was about. It was about how needless and how exploitive how needless the cruelty is when you look at how exploitive our system is, or why were my relatives caught up in this fever and they went to war when the war wasn't really about our safety or our future. It was to make a rich man richer. So, look, a lot of those themes are explored.
Yeah.
Well, I think to get to even like a heart of the technical part of your question, which is like, how is it different? We're keenly into book 2 and have some outlining done for book 3, but this started almost 10 years ago to the day as a concept.
Okay.
And we've just kept working for a decade. And about 3.5 years ago, we got signed to a publisher, and then we started working through that process. And another exciting thing, I think, for people who follow Carl's lyrical composition is that one of our characters is a musician. And I think, Carl and I both spent time on stage, success and failure, and that character has a lot of confessions about the active performance, but also Carl did compose, I think, like 4 or 5 new pieces of poetry and songwriting that are inside the text as songs and poems, predominantly through this one groundhog character. So I think even for band fans, like you can get in and see music in a new way from his perspective too.
Sure. Yeah.
Also, like from a purely writing perspective, I know like the question was like, how was it different? You know, writing lyrics versus an actual novel or story.
Yeah.
I think that was something that the three of us kind of discovered as we went along with this process. None of us have ever written a book. Like Carl said, he came with this concept, and we decided to work on it, and it took some time to really kind of figure it out. It's easy just to throw a lot of ideas down on a page, and then before you know it, you have this much written. But it was really like kind of figuring out the formatting and the cadence and how to make something. And I think that was the fun of it all, at least for me, was just kind of learning and growing as we are all, I think, leaps and bounds better writers than we were 10 years ago. And that not necessarily doesn't mean like, the ideas are different or better, but it's just the way we write.
Sure.
Like we can throw something down on a page now that we could probably throw to an editor and say, okay, can you take a look at this? Whereas 10 years ago, they probably would have just thrown it in the trash.
Yeah, it's like any skill. The more you do it, the more it develops. And you guys have, you haven't rushed the process. You've taken your time, and did this kind of develop organically? Like, did you like kind of have the arc of the story and you outline it and then fill in the parts, or like how did it work? And especially, working as a trio, like, how did that process work for you guys?
For me, like the beginning, the middle, and the end were all very clear as to how to put it all together and have it make sense and keep it fast paced, because it is action adventure. It did take some revisions and some rewrites, but I mean it's all been time well spent. For instance, like chapter 1, I think we rewrote maybe 3 or even 4 times.
It was like, I feel like it was like 8.
Huge sections of the book were done. Huge sections of book 2 and 3 are done. But I think when you put it all together and you want to maintain that fast pace, that's when you have to put the work in.
Yeah.
Dude, there was this one moment where I think 4 rewrites into chapter 1, and Carl comes to the room and he's like, I have an idea for chapter 1. And Jeremy and I double clotheslined him and put him out the window. And he was still insistent, like, no, we got to look at this. And so we drag his body back through the window, and we listened for a second. And he said this, and then I knew I had to kill him. He said, I want to see if we could include a puppet show, like a shadow puppet show on the wall for this character to describe the world. And Jeremy and I wept softly into our hands, and then we went back to work and finally figured out how to basically do three worlds of introduction: the prehistoric age, the human age, and now the animal age, all in this shadow puppet show on a wall to a character who's terrified. And it was the genius of wanting to do harm, and then also recognizing, man, if better is better, then we're just going to own that. And now that opening chapter is probably one of the best moments we have. But yeah, man, it was a grind at times, but there's also a lot of joy in moving past, I don't want to do this again, to getting to the point where you're like, oh man, this sings now.
And that's part of, like what part of your question was, how did 3 people get together and do this? And obviously that's something that we've learned, along the way. It wasn't easy at first. We all have our own ideas, and it's not the easiest thing to, you might go home and be like, making dinner, and then you just have this great idea, and you're like, oh wow, I can't wait to tell the guys this great idea, and you get back to the room and they both look at you and they're like, no. And,
at least you got 3, so you can always you can put it democratically and do a vote, and the 2/3 majority, right?
Yeah, but that process has also gotten easier, and it's also kind of like it's a blessing, because like you said, there is 3 of us, and if 2 of us are like no, then it's really not that great of an idea. But if everybody else is as pumped about it as you are. And you're like, okay, this is a pretty cool idea, you know. And it's a lot of fun, you know.
Or even if they're not pumped, if they're defeated because you've rewritten
Yeah.
the thing 7 times, but you're like, yeah, that's good. We actually got to do this, so fuck it, let's do it. Yeah. Plus it sounds like, with time you guys learn each other. You're all developing your own styles, but you're also more understanding of each other's styles. So you probably grew together on this. It sounds like.
Well, we've gotten to a point now where we kind of joke about it, where have gone back and read the first book. I actually listened because the audiobook came out on June 15th. And I listened to the whole thing, and I really couldn't remember who wrote what.
Oh, that's cool.
It's gotten to that point where we just, if you spend a little time away from it, you're like, wait, who wrote that? Which one of us wrote that? Or whose idea? I don't even remember whose ideas was what anymore.
Who read the audiobook? Who narrated it?
So we were really fortunate that Recorded Books picked up the project, and they brought on Peter Bradbury. He's done a lot of voice work and animation. He's got maybe 30 audiobooks under his belt. But most notably for us, in point of celebration, is he did a handful of the more recent Star Wars books. And so he's got this great British, sort of formal British voice, and does a lot of great character voice work. So yeah, we're really proud to have been paired with Recorded Books. And the audiobook's available anywhere you get audiobooks, from Audible to Apple to Spotify.
Yeah, and that happened very quickly after the book was released. Mm-hmm. So we were super stoked that it came together as fast as it did.
Yeah. Now, was it difficult, kind of, writing at a level, not at a level, but like in a voice that was suitable for, you said, for like middle school? Like, was there challenges in the, writing for more of a children's audience rather than a full adult audience?
I think it may have been a little easier for me because I had two young. I actually had two kids in middle grade, in that age bracket. When we would write something, I would go home and read it to them, and if they liked it, I was like, okay, we're on, we're kind of doing what we do, but we're also kind of kids at heart.
Yeah. So it sounded like you had your own little focus group that you could go test things out on test group.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I will say though, there were things like metrically that were challenging, because our first draft of this book was about 470 pages long, and then we were told that that's not a length for middle grades, so we had to go out and chop about 150 pages to get it where it needed to be. And that process,
is that where it became a trilogy?
Yeah, so we're allowed to get bigger each book, but the first book kind of has to come in a little sub 300, and so that was a real challenge to figure out who do we lose in this book and how do we pick them back up in another book later on. So yeah, definitely scores of challenges. One of the things that really worked well for us too, and this came from advice from Keegan Kuhn, who does great animal rights work in documentary films, and he was like, you need images. And so we put together a contest and found a great artist, Zulfikar Rahman, and he did both versions of our cover, the hardcover, the soft cover, and then also did 9 illustrations, and is also going to be illustrating through books 2 and 3 with us as well. So we're super happy to have him on board. His art's phenomenal. You'll see the interior art here shortly, but man, it has been a joy. And also to have images in the book is just such a great middle grades YA jam, because if you get lost with a character, after a few pages, there they are. You can see them doing what we're describing.
Yeah. He really nailed like the whole Don Bluth type animation we were going for with the imagery. He has a flair for it, and he delivered.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with this type of story, and I don't know what your plans are, but this seems like it could lend itself to all kinds of different media, whether it's like a graphic novel or a cartoon series or like a movie. There's a lot that could be done with something like that. Is that something you guys have cooking up, or plans or hopes for?
Well, once the book was done, it was published very quickly, and we got picked up by the audiobook company, and they put that together very quickly as well. So,
but to answer the question, yes, that is the goal.
It's the dream.
Yeah,
it's the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things that we're currently not at liberty to discuss in any kind of detail, but
Which is tough because we want to. But we
yeah,
can't.
for sure. But the idea of comic book, there's a script that we have, and we've been bouncing around with artists, and media acquisitions is something that the label continues to work on our behalf, and we have some great leads right now, and we're excited. We're excited. The idea that this could find its way to more forms of communication is, yes, dreamy, dreamy.
And one of the things that I really wanted us to bear down and focus on when we put this together, well, earlier I mentioned we wanted to keep it fast paced. Like the way it's sequenced, I think it very easily could translate into animation or video game. And it was very purposeful.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like it would have, it's like just fraught with imagery. Working, you know, I know all you guys are musicians, and I know Keith, you're also a comedian and things like that. Like working in this aspect of the industry, I'm always interested in this type of stuff. Like, you know, you guys are, you know, been in bands and, you know, have toured and done stuff like that and worked with like record labels. What's the publishing game like, working with a publisher and then doing like book tours and stuff like that? Is it very similar, or is it better, or, you know, how does that compare to doing like, you know, other artistic endeavors?
The in stores are a lot like playing a show.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're meeting new people and you're leaving with new friends. It's kind of amazing to think that, like, you know, oh, I drove 45 minutes to see you guys. I love the book. I'm like, wow, this guy like has no connection to us other than this book.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't know any of my bands or any of Jeremy's poems or any of Keith's stand up. They've never, you know, they're not like connected to it, but they're connected to the book. So that is pretty special to see that happen.
Yeah, one of the things I learned quickly is I'm a little bit of a low talker, and I think one of our first readings, I was talking low, and these guys kind of kicked me like, "You need to speak up." And
I jabbed him with a pen.
And afterwards, I was thinking about it, and I was like, "Wow!" I'm like, "This actually, I didn't really think about it prior to that, but I was like, we are performing.
Yep.
When we go out, like we're lucky, and we had a reading and a signing at a Barnes and Noble, and there was quite a lot of people there, and which was a surprise. So I got a little bit nervous, but then I thought about it afterwards. I'm like, no, we're putting on a performance. We're gonna read, we're gonna talk about, we're gonna answer questions, and then do a little bit of a signing. But it's a lot of fun, I will say.
And you're doing awesome. You're speaking loud and clear, buddy. You're doing good.
Oh, thank you.
They
got you trained.
It's a lot. It's a lot like doing a set. We started it kind of the same way. You start off in comedy, you do new material, so you go to a small club where nobody knows you and it's underpopulated. And we did some really small bookstores just to get our sense of voice and who we were live.
Yeah.
And then you take the good material and you rerun it, and then you try new material. By the time we were doing Barnes and Noble or going out and doing some regional work, the set felt tighter. You knew someone was going to ask this type of question, and you score the laugh this way or the little awe that way. And for me, it really did feel like we were just working as a like an old timey comedy trio. And working out the material and trying to communicate it as clear as we could.
And that's been my favorite part, I think, of the readings and the signings is just how engaged the people that have come to see us have been. So we've gotten so many great questions from people that that may not have read the book, but just listened to us. And I think that's so cool, just to sit and read and then watch everybody just kind of settle down and really engage with the story. Is just it's a cool thing.
To the other part of your question about working with a publisher, it is, I don't know what music is like, but it's a lot like getting an agent. It's a lot like getting anything put out in front of people. We were signed 3.5 years ago, and we actually just had the privilege to be able to write a piece for Writer's Digest, and we titled it "Be Patient But Don't Wait." And I think for anybody who's in an artistic avenue, if you're waiting for your agent, your publisher, your marketer, your publicist to do things for you, you're going to be waiting a long time. And so what we do is try to encourage people, hey, if you believe in it forever, and go out and get it. Make your own contacts, push your own needle, and nothing's going to move you forward more than you.
Yeah,
and
no one's as invested. No one's as invested in your project as you are.
Yeah, and I think a lot of creatives dump a lot of their work into world building, into building songs and art. And then when it comes time to tell people about that, we lose our creativity. And so that's another place where we've really learned a lot, which is like, no, let's be creative about how we meet people and introduce ourselves to people like you or a bookstore signing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that hardcore taught me over the past 30 plus years. It is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And you keep going and you keep rerouting until you reach, destination A, destination B. And the first two have been attained. We found a supportive publishing company. The book is set, book one is out, and the audiobook is complete and released, and it all seems to be tracking well. So every time we land more of these in stores with the bookshops, I feel like it's another victory. It's like another show that's getting booked onto a tour.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's always better. You guys are all coming into it with a strong DIY ethic, which comes from backgrounds, like you said, hardcore, whatever everyone's backgrounds are. And it's like, that you're an immovable, you're a moving force yourselves, and you don't have to rely on these other people. But if you do have agents and managers that are also working for you, it only adds to the momentum. But like, you do it without them, and which is not what a lot of people do. So like, you guys have a leg up, a serious leg up in that type of regard.
Well, yeah, we always say just have that punk rock mentality.
Yeah.
Let's go get it,
And that is one of the connections when it comes to our background. Like, Keith and Jeremy are a little more into punk. I'm a little more into hardcore metal, but everybody grew up skating, like building their own ramps, sweeping out the ditch to skate and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the strong connections there when it comes to our origins, I guess.
Yeah. Is there like a character thread where you kind of got like a rebellious, is there any of the animals that are more on the rebellious, like punk rock side in the story?
Well, yeah. So when we write, there's a little bit of all of us in a lot of the characters, in a lot of our family and friends. It's
Sure.
kind of what you draw on.
You write
those
from experience,
experiences.
right? Yeah.
But specifically for me, Ika and Ayu, the two sugar gliders, they're very, very fierce, very loyal, very sarcastic, and they are my daughters. So when we wrote them, I was like, listen, guys, I got this. My two girls, this is how they are. But even with Randall, when we wrote Randall, a lot of me when I was younger went into Randall, and that was that, again, sarcastic and this, doesn't want to listen to anybody, just does do it your own way, anything you say to me, Dad, and that I can do it better, it's not, that kind of stuff. So yeah, absolutely. But even Boswell, Boswell with the two of you guys, I think what you said that Charles asked you when he read the book, like, hey, Dad, is Boswell you?
Is there a
So,
comedian?
yeah.
Is there a comedian character?
Yeah, actually in book two.
Yeah, or actually, it's just, he's an insult comic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who's great at insulting people, but not necessarily making them laugh. So he's struggling to find his voice.
Just as an
But, yeah,
aside,
also, like-
I think one of the all-time greatest insult comics is actually Triumph the Insult Comic Dog.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. For me to poop on.
Yeah, getting people
But
to,
there's
to react to a puppet is hysterical. Like, whether like they forget the dude's there and they're just getting hammered.
Yeah. There is a lot of humor throughout this story. So that's one of the things that we really tried. We wanted to make people laugh. We wanted parents to laugh. We wanted kids to laugh. So there is a lot of that. There's a lot of Keith throughout the story.
And for people who are like completely new, and this is the first time they're hearing about our book and these characters, one of the main players is a groundhog, and he is a traveling troubadour. So kind of like a bard from the Middle Ages. He's out singing the songs about his heroes and their epic victories. But he himself, in a lot of ways, is very fearful, and he has a backpack, and the two characters that Jeremy was describing, the two sugar gliders, the sisters, they ride in little baskets on his shoulders. And one of the original concepts for them was if you go back and look at some of the cartoons from the 40s or the 50s, how there would be the little angel on the left shoulder,
Yeah.
and or the little devil on the left shoulder and the little angel on the right shoulder, you know, encouraging the character to either go the right way or steering them off into chaos.
To the
We thought
left-hand
it would be
path.
fun- Yeah, we thought it would be funny if both characters were kind of evil.
Yeah, the only advice he gets is typically just bad advice.
Yeah, they're violent and impulsive and
Yeah.
basically just thinking about how to get what they want. Where he's trying to reason with both of them as they're chirping in his ears.
Now, when you were developing these characters, and you said some are like trying to resist the downfalls of past mankind, and some are kind of whether knowingly or unknowingly embracing some of the faults of mankind. How did you guys pick which animals are doing which? Did you go on like kind of general, like, you know, was there anything that informed your choices for which animals were going to be where, I guess, for lack of a better way to ask? Do you know what I'm saying by that? Like,
Yeah, I'm told loud and clear. If you could see our text thread over the last 10 years, it is the nerdiest text thread about like Australian crow research on communication, on how sugar gliders mate. I mean, we were so in the weeds. And one of the reasons for crows is that the research over the last decade has demonstrated that that they've used individual claws to recognize each other, that when one of the murder falls, that they will stand around in almost a funerary styled celebration of life. They are using tools to coax prey. So that was one of the reasons for crows and birds in particular, is just how advanced that culture is sort of under our nose. There was a lot of reading.
One of the really interesting things to me that we learned about crows that we incorporated into the story was that they hold grudges.
yeah, that's what I was just going to bring up. I've been reading all about that. And they recognize faces, they hold grudges, and they talk to each other. So like they did that experiment where someone was wearing a mask and being a dick to the crows. And like the crows on the other side of the city would respond negatively to that guy in that mask because they talk to each other and they know, oh, that guy's a dick. Don't mess with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if
they're brilliant. Yeah, they're brilliant.
if you're cool, they bring you gifts and shit.
Oh yeah. Well, also like there's a little bit of precedent with this too, because Hitchcock did that movie in the '60s called The Birds that was based on birds attacking people in grocery store parking lots. Like they coalesced and worked together to like dive bomb people's grocery bags. And that became the premise for the Hitchcock film. And so for us too, it was like, oh, okay, there's like entertainment, there's actual science. And so we've kind of been in an internal debate. Is our story fantasy or is this actually science fiction?
Yeah.
No, and that's cool, but it just makes it's that much more informed and like will feel more organic to people if like these personalities like that or traits that animals have kind of are amplified in the story, but also kind of humanized, for lack of a better word, right?
Right. Yeah, our main villain is holding a grudge. I mean, one of the great grudges of all times.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, I wanted to get back to this real quick. When you guys were talking about doing your book signings and readings and stuff, who's showing up? Is it parents? Is it adults? Is it kids? Is it everybody? And
It's a mix.
Yeah.
It's a really good mix, which has been surprising. You know, it's parents bringing kids. You know, in a lot of cases, it's just people in their 20s. You know, it's older people. It's been a wide range.
And one of the things that was the most fun that we got to be a part of was the Syracuse Retro Game Convention. And I think that opened us up to people that are really focused on gaming and animation, probably manga and anime as well. There's a lot of characters walking around in costume. It was awesome.
It was fun.
And I think that they went home and started talking to their friends in different chat groups or their different circles of influence, and things kind of went outward from there.
Yeah.
So that was really fun, and I think we're slated to do something like that again next year in Pennsylvania. So if we land more of those, I'll be really happy.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, and you find that your intended audience grows in unexpected ways. The one thing that happened at this game convention that made all of us laugh a little bit and then also go, holy cow. There's a woman who sits on the board of the largest furry convention in the United States.
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna be a huge hit with the furries.
Yeah, man.
It's gonna get weird though. You better watch out. No one makes a spin-off, like a weird spin-off that you don't want kids to see.
know what it was.
It's good. So yeah, we had to do a little definition work in house, and then then we realized, oh man, people might want to dress up like these characters and get all kinds of amorous with each other. And Carl's always in a panic about having this conversation.
I just want us to always want us to be PG or
I know.
G.
I'm thinking of those memes. I'm thinking of those memes where you see.
This is 20,000 people who get together annually, and to get that invite, it's like, oh, from a marketing perspective, you're like, yeah, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Even if we have no clue what's going to happen.
You know those memes where you're like, I think I downloaded the wrong Star Wars or whatever. You guys are gonna be one of the. I think I downloaded the wrong Unraveling.
Yeah, the fan section's going to be weird.
Yeah. So when you're doing these book tours, is there any like book groupies at this point, or is that going to be at FurryCon 2026? I'm just messing with it.
Your lips to the fuzzy god ear.
Oh man! All right. Well, yeah, that took a twist, but my show is. I don't think there's a lot of 8th graders watching this show. It'll be the adults that that'll laugh.
Okay.
And then everyone knows that you guys aren't intending, endorsing, or or wanting any of that. It's just a
Correct.
a side effect.
Yeah,
But-
we want kindness and respect for all animals.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and also for each other, and then I think also from the writing side of it, from the marketing side, be open to who your audience could become. Like you might think it's this, and also find that it's that. And while we might not understand every aspect of our budding audience, it's fun to consider them and to also find space in our understanding, because then that helps to grow that love and that communication that's essential to the story.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get really weird in book 3, where you're gonna have these animals that are called humies, and they dress up like humans, and in the human suits. And
That's a great idea. Yeah, you're going to get a credit in the next one. There we go.
it just starts getting really mirroring, human culture.
Boswell finds his niche.
Yeah, you go to Comic-Con and out there, and it's whatever. But yeah, no, that's awesome, man. What else is going on with it? Any plans to expand? I know it sounds like a lot of the stuff you've been doing has been in the upstate region. Are you guys got anything coming up in any other cities, or any plans?
Yeah, we'll be in Baltimore at the SPX show, repping a bunch of different projects with a publisher, but Unraveling is going to have a strong presence there. That's September 13 and 14. So we'll be there. And then a lot of it from here is just some podcasts, and then getting back into booking some more bookshops as we go.
Yeah. Where was I going? Sorry, man. I just lost my train of thought. I have too many dumb things going through my head about humies right now. I'm just playing. But yeah, so where I'm not wrapping up here, but do you guys have a website or something for the book so that people can find out about the schedule of what's coming up for you guys?
Yeah, you can. If you just type in the Council of Crows into Google, you can find our website, which is theunravelingbook.com. Distribution through Simon & Schuster. You can find us through Audible. You can find us through the publisher, Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, really anywhere books are sold. If you just type in the Council of Crows, you'll get everything from our social media all the way down to websites and where to buy it.
Also 3WS's website, our publisher, yeah.
I'll have all that stuff. You guys send me that afterwards, and I'll have all of this in the show notes for people, so they can just click on it. They don't have to search. But
and it's COUNSEL. It's that spelling of the word council.
Okay.
Council of Crows.
Not the CIL, the SEL. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so what else? Anything else about the book that we haven't talked about? I mean, we've covered a lot, and it's. I'm sure people are going to be super stoked and interested to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we keep saying, it is an adventure story. There's a lot of action. It's fast paced. There's comedy, and a lot of our philosophy when it comes to how we approach animal rights and kindness towards sentient beings and environmentalism, it's woven into it. It's there, but it's not so heavy handed that I think it's daunting. I think it's it's things that someone who's a little bit older will understand as they're going through the book, and then when someone revisits it at an older age, if they got to it when they were younger, they'll see it for what it is and they'll appreciate it.
We're also really excited too because we're going to be delivering book 2 to all of these outlets April 22nd of 2026. So, as you're grabbing this installment, book 2 is on its way, and we're really excited to be able to deliver that about a year after this book drops. So the plan is to go each year, 1 book, 2 book, 3 book, and then keep building that way too, so that the audience always has something fresh and new to pick up and check out in the world.
And there's also other stories that we're currently working on, and some of them occur before these 3 books, and some of them run parallel to the storyline. So,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're creating a world where there could be unlimited amount of offshoots and like prequels and and sequels.
Right, and that's one of the things. Some people are probably going to watch this or listen to this and laugh and be like, "It took these guys 10 years." And the reason why it took us 10 years is because we didn't just create a story; we created a world. Like this will be something that a map will accompany down the line.
Yeah.
When it's completed, there'll be a map in the first 2 pages of the reprints of the modern editions. So yeah, it's been very involved, and it's fun expanding and building it further and further outward.
Yeah, it's 10 years to do the first book, but like you said, it's not. You didn't just write the first book; you developed the world and good chunks of the second and third, and all that stuff. So now everything can start moving at a quicker pace. Sounds like.
For sure, yeah.
Oh, and eventually y'all are going to get to meet a Komodo dragon that realized it could hold a World War II Japanese flamethrower. So there's a lot of good stuff coming your way.
So actually, one of the things I wanted to ask is, on the this still takes place on Earth, post-apocalyptic Earth. Like, is it in a region we would understand, or is it like, does it take place in Europe, or what was America?
That's fun. Basically, in the story, we reference in the past there was this event, the Unraveling, where essentially like the tectonic plates were swirled together. So you're finding different species in like a new Pangea interacting with each other who previously would not have been in close proximity.
Okay. Yeah.
But a lot of the flora is definitely inspired by Northeast America. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like almost like when everyth's separated, now the continents are coming back together.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Cool. And what? Given the themes of this, and I do like how you said like a lot of it is like fast-paced action and humor. This is essentially it's kind of dark stuff, but when you or serious stuff, but when you present it in that kind of format, it's like more easily digested by people. Like comedy, people are laughing, but you can have serious, like George Carlin or any of these guys, they have serious things they're saying, but they're making you laugh, and then that makes you more open to actually thinking about these things rather than someone trying to hammer it or drill it in your face.
Exactly.
So I think that's going to be good for you guys. But has any of the whether it's environmental or animal rights or animal liberation organizations, has anyone kind of like endorsed the book or picked it up, put it on their reading list?
Yeah, we had a wonderful quote that we included on the back cover of the book from Ingrid Newkirk, who started PETA, and we also had a great quote from Moby, who is vegan.
Yep.
He did the vegan punk rock movie, and the same for Keegan Kuhn, and he's an award-winning director. He did Cowspiracy and Seaspiracy. And I don't think that there is nothing better when it comes to an introduction to those concepts of animals as sentient beings, and then the idea of treating them with kindness than those films. They are masterworks of documentaries. Like a person could go in knowing nothing about vegetarianism or veganism, vivisection, fur ranching, whaling, or any of those types of things. Watch those films and quickly gain a lot of knowledge.
Cool. Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, like, it's the what you've developed is great because it hits a lot of things and can have an appeal beyond like, I always say like things like our world's like, and I'm Carl, like, you know, like we grew up, like we do punk rock and hardcore and metal stuff, like that only has a limited range. Something like this is more universal and you can reach a lot more people. And it sounds like that's what's happening when you go out on these book tours, like people that only know the book and don't know any of you guys' background or anything, or identifying with the book. That must be such a good, not affirmation, but like you know, it shows the, I don't, there's a word I'm looking for that you probably know, but I have word recall issues lately. I don't know why. I think I'm stressed out, but that must be such a good, you know, confirmation of everything you've done, you know, or affirmation of what you've done, you know?
Yeah, and hopefully it will serve as a gateway and an introduction point for people when it comes to them understanding what pollution has done to this world, the deforestation, or how needless all this suffering and cruelty is towards animals. Like it just doesn't need to be happening anymore, and there's smarter ways to do things.
Yeah.
And to your point too, it is fun when you go to a live event and you open it up to the most terrifying part, which is like audience Q&A.
Yeah.
And we had at one of our readings, we opened it up and the first question was, did you think about Kierkegaard and Emerson when composing the idea of the all spirit in your book? And like, what a wild question. And then also be able to go, yeah, we actually did. We talked a lot about those ideas in the construction of what our overarching power is in the story. And so sometimes you get, you know, like a kid asking a question about a character they love, or you get someone who's now deep in the weeds of 19th century philosophy, and to be able to have those things happen simultaneously, it is definitely confirming and affirming and encouraging to go do it again.
Yeah. And then you're like thankful for those 10 years of text messages where you really worked everything out. So you can be like, yeah, dude, we did think about that. Let me scroll back. Let me keyword search this. Yeah. It was August 7th, 2014. We talked about that.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Well, anything else, man? Like you guys have, you know, it's been a very interesting, and, awesome episode so far. I mean, I think people are going to be interested in this book, especially people with kids, or people who are interested in any of these, you know, areas of exploration that you're talking about in there. Anything else that we haven't touched on the book, or plans for what you guys got going on with the trilogy that we haven't hit yet?
Just keep checking in with us, because we are going to be doing a lot more of these in stores.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And book 2 will be out before we know it. I mean, a year moves so quickly now. It's insane. You know, so we've been going back and forth with Zool, and all of his illustrations are fantastic. I think he's getting even better somehow, which I didn't think was possible. So book 2 is going to have more drawings than book 1.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And again, thankful to have been here with you today. And for anyone who's interested, like we said, it's available through Simon & Schuster, Third World Studios, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and then through Audible or wherever you get your audiobooks. It's The Council of Crows. And yeah, we're super excited. Can't wait to deliver more.
Yeah, and we'll be at the Golden Feet Bookshop this coming Saturday from, I believe, 10:30 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be on the 30th. We'll be out in. I'm gonna butcher this. I think
Punk Rock Book Club.
it's a Arondicott or
Irondequoit.
Irondequoit. Their free library. And it's the Punk Rock Book Fair.
Yep.
And that's from 5 to I think when it ends. And like Carl said, they'll have there'll be some food there. There's going to be tattoo artists doing like tattoos for kids. They're going to be doing a punk rock pin making session. We're obviously doing a reading and a signing and a Q&A, and then there's a punk rock show at the end.
You might want to clarify, like, temporary tattoos for kids, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No, your 5-year-old's gonna get a mom right on his chest.
Bring your 12-year-old. We'll let it slide today. You get a tattoo. Nah. All right. Well, hey, it's been awesome having you guys, and everyone go see them when they come to a town or a city or a bookstore near you. Yeah, it was awesome. I'm gonna shut this off, but I'm not hanging up. So hold on one second, man. Thank you guys once again.
Thank you, my friend.
And before we wrap up today, just want to remind you the new design, the Chopper Alien, is up and live on the merch store at bigtruthpodcast.com/store. So check it out there. You can get it on all kinds of weird merchandise, whether it's a t-shirt, hoodie, tank top, shorts, whatever. Check it out. BigTruthPodcast.com for all your information about the show, but BigTruthPodcast.com/store for the merch area. And once again, if you want to support the show, go to Patreon.com/BigTruth. And always go check out ChopAhead.com. And that's it. Thank you, everyone, for listening today.